Coming up on Celtics Today, we're talking about some Boston Celtics players' stock who's going up and going down. But first, you've seen them play 3 preseason games so far, so give me your hottest Boston Celtics take down in the comments. I'm going to be giving you mine later on in the show. It can be anything from Neemias Queta could be in the starting lineup by the end of the season, or maybe Joe Mazzulla should be fired by the middle of the season. Nothing is too crazy because it's preseason. Let's get into it. What's up, Boston fans? I am a host, Allie Barefoot. My producer, Smitty, is always to my left, and my man, Kristaps Porzingis, is to my right because he has been getting up and throwing it down this preseason. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about some Celtics players that have gone up and have trended downwards. Well, of course, we got to start with going up. Payton Pritchard, preseason P, of course, is stocking up. He has dominated so far, and it gets me so excited to see what his role is going to be into the regular season because in the first 3 games of the preseason, he has been the leading scorer for the Celtics, dropping 26 points against the 76ers, doing it again, dropping 17 points and dropping 21 against the Knicks, and he's been shooting from 3 a lot. We see 6, 4, and 3, and of course, he's been dishing out his assists. So far, Payton Pritchard is showing us why he deserves his money. And we're not the only ones that think so. He's become a fan favorite, of course, on Twitter. Dan Greenberg tweeted, Payton Pritchard has immediately become the best contract in the NBA. Brad Stevens knows what he is doing at GM. He's made some great offseason trades, and of course, he gave Payton Pritchard that bag. And there's a reason why. Because also, we have another tweet that shows Payton Pritchard better than your team's starting point guard. Probably. No, he's probably not going to be the Celtics starting point guard. I don't know. I'm not Joe Mazzulla, but I would say he's got a good shot at being something like a 6th man off the bench, or maybe even 7th if you want to put Drew Holiday at the 6th man. Overall, when Payton Pritchard comes in, if he's going to be anything like he is in the preseason, then I think we've got a pretty good player on our hands because Pritchard, when he's all in the Boston Celtics, because of course we know he was having a little bit of I want to go somewhere else last season, I want to be traded. Now that he's fully committed to the Boston Celtics, I wish he did this sooner. He's a fan favorite, and I know I'm not the only one. However, we have to talk about some players that have been trending downwards. Well, that does include Luke Kornet. Yes, I know, the green Kornet. I don't want to say this either, but we've seen 3 games so far, and he doesn't look like he's been keeping up to speed with some of the other players. Now, it's not to say he can't do better in the regular season, but I think this is where somebody like Luke should be really performing well. When you look at what he's done in the past few games, of course, we're going to kind of hone in on the New York Knicks game because he dropped 4 points in 20 minutes. As a center, that's not doing very good when you primarily live in the paint. And the reason why this is a pretty big stock down for us is because the Boston Celtics really need a good backup big. And I'm talking backup behind Porzingis and Al Horford. But before the preseason even started, this was the last practice, Joe Mazzulla was confident in Luke Kornet. He said, it starts with Luke. I thought Luke really did a great job last year, and I think he's an underrated player, and I don't think people realize how effective he is. This was Joe Mazzulla's quote about the C's center depth before the preseason even started. I would love to know what Joe Mazzulla is saying now, because if Luke is going to be your starting bench player at the center, then you're in trouble because I don't like him as the number 3. In my opinion, just from what I've seen from preseason, I think Kornet has not done very well. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Grade Luke Kornet's preseason so far, A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to go with D. Maybe a little harsh, but he hasn't been scoring, and he seems to be a little bit a play behind on defense, so I'm going to go with D. But that's just my opinion because I also make my opinions on Prize Picks. This is the app where I can control whatever I want because I can either do more or less on a player's projected stats. It's that easy. It is one of my favorite daily fantasy sports app because it's so easy to use. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. And you don't even have to do any math on this. They already picked the projected stats that you could possibly choose from. And of course, I went on ahead and picked some for the Thursday night football slate. I do have Russell Wilson having less than 218.5 passing yards. Patrick Mahomes, I always got to go with more. And Travis Kelce, if Patrick Mahomes is going more, then you got to go Travis Kelce more. But these are just my picks. I want to hear from you guys. Make your own picks. All you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use promo code CLNS for a first-time $100 deposit match, and you can watch yourself win some real money in real time. Man, I love Prize Picks, and I really hope that I can win again on this favorite app. Now, talking about stock down or stock up, Kristaps Porzingis is, thank goodness, a stock up. He has looked like he has fit in seamlessly with the Boston Celtics in his first 3 preseason games. He didn't even play one of them. He has really shown that he can be an addition on the offense and on the defense. We can see him shoot from multiple areas on the floor. We see him shoot from the corner, around the perimeter, in the paint, alley-oop, and making some dunks. But also on the defensive side, he's been a great rim protector, continuously contests shots. So I think Kristaps Porzingis can only go up from here, in my opinion. Because when you look at his 2 stats from the both times he's played the 76ers in the 3 games the Celtics have played so far, he's averaging, 25 minutes, 17 minutes, so he's not playing a full game, obviously. And his points, 17 points, 11. His rebounds, not that great, but we understand he's got a little bit of other roles going on the floor. And he's shooting his threes, 2 for 3 in game 1, 2 for 2 in game 2 against the 76ers. I think Kristaps Porzingis is going to continue to keep trending upwards, and man, I hope he does not prove me wrong. But another person that I think has been trending upwards is, yes, Neemias Queta, the 2-way contract player for the Boston Celtics. I have been in love with him in a Celtics jersey so far this season. When you look at what he's done versus the 76ers, he played for 8 minutes and drops 10 points with no fouls. This man meant business. He's been diving for balls. He's really been commanding the offense when he's on there. So I really have enjoyed. He's got about 3 rebounds, 2 assists. So obviously he's got a little bit more on defensive side. But offensively, I like Neemias Queta at the center in the backup position. I'm a big fan of it. I think that he could really fit in here. I don't know if he'll end up getting that standard deal or not. But ultimately, I do think Neemias Queta could possibly see more time in a Celtics jersey than he would possibly in Maine. But overall, I think this was a really good pick. I obviously hope to see that he will keep trending upwards because I think Neemias Queta hasn't hit his ceiling yet. I sure as hell don't think he's hit his floor. So when I'm looking at all the bench players that I've seen so far, Neemias Queta stands out to me. I've really enjoyed his size. He looks really big, especially going up against the 76ers. And I know Joel Embiid hasn't played yet, but I really like Neemias Queta's size. Let's say over somebody like Luke Kornet. But regardless, when you look at the depth chart that the Celtics do currently work with, I think they have a lot of players they can possibly take to, but I want to give you guys my hot take in just 1 second because when I'm looking at the Celtics center depth, Kristaps Porzingis is obviously probably going to be your number 1. Then you go to Al Horford. Whether or not Joe Mazzulla wants to switch those guys up and have one of them at forward or at center, that's his business. But currently, Luke Kornet is kind of at the 3rd string, Wenyen Gabriel at the 4th, and Neemias Queta at 5. Here is everything that Joe Mazzulla gets to work with. Overall, I would like to see Neemias Queta be a little bit higher in that realm. But here's why. Here's my hot take that I told you I would give you guys earlier in the show. I like Neemias Queta more than Luke Kornet. Who said that? I did. That's my hot take. From what I have seen in the first 3 games, I think Neemias Queta deserves to play more in a Boston Celtics uniform. I know he has a 2-way contract, but he at least deserves a standard deal, in my opinion. I say we see how it goes in Maine, but I like how he's been playing. I like his size for a backup option at the center. I'm not talking about starting. I'm not going to get crazy here, but this is my hot take. In the 3 preseason games I've seen so far, Joe Mazzulla, I like Neemias Queta. But should the C's sign Neemias Queta to a standard deal, type Y for yes, type N for no. You guys already know mine's a Y. So go on ahead and type Y for yes, N for no. Let's see if Neemias Queta could be on the Celtics later this year. And last but not least, our stock down is Lamar Stevens. I didn't want this to be a stock down, but I'm going to tell you why. It's not a hard no for me. I think when you put him in the stock down pile, it trends more offensively, not defensively. He has shown very bright spots in rebounding. He's been aggressive. So I don't want anybody coming at me saying, what are you watching? She doesn't know ball. It's not what I'm saying. Defensively, he could definitely be an asset for the Boston Celtics. Offensively, it's a little bit of a struggle for me. When you look at his stats, he's played 5 minutes throughout the game. 27 minutes was more against the Knicks. Of course, this is when the top 6 were not playing. And then 16 minutes, the last game the Celtics did play against the 76ers, 5 points. 11 points in 27 minutes is not fantastic. 2 points in 16 minutes? That's horrible. What were you doing that entire time? But his rebounds give me hope. 8 rebounds against the Knicks, going up against their actual starters like Julius Randle. So when you look at him playing defense, he gets a lot of boards. And the team is lacking rebounding. So I don't think I don't think Lamar Stevens is bad in any means. I would just put him in the stock down pile just because primarily of his offense. But what do you guys think? Lamar Stevens, stock up or stock down? Type U for up, type D for down. I'm going to go with down just because of his offensive skill. But overall, subscribe to this channel because we're going to be giving you guys updates about the preseason, regular season, postseason. We've got it all right here at Celtics Today by Chat Sports. So go on ahead and hit that sub button for me.